Hey guys, I just wanted to start off by thanking you guys so much for believing in me, for just coming to this page and just for joining me on this Bible study. I am so excited purely because this is something that is really close to home for me. I have been struggling with my own brokenness for a long time. It hasn't just been, a month long thing. It's been years. And I'm just starting to come past that. And I'm really excited to share this journey with you. If you guys like this video, go ahead and subscribe and like it. I will be doing these every Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't decided when I'm putting this out yet. So I will put that in the description on what day they will be coming out. But I will be doing a weekly free Bible study for a few months, just until I kind of see where God is going to take this. I believe that He has something so special planned, and I'm really excited to see that. And also I will be doing a short weekly video, which is just going to be a verse breakdown. I'm not sure yet what day that's going to come out either, but definitely keep looking out for that. I do know on Tuesdays I will be doing Facebook Lives, and that will just basically be talking about some maybe problems or issues I was having during the week and how I overcame that or how I am overcoming it. So yeah, I'm really excited about all this. I hope you guys like this Bible study. If you could, write me an email or comment below with some things that I could change or improve on. I'm going to give you a heads up and a warning. It's thundering here, first of all. Second of all, my spelling is horrendous. My handwriting is messy. And I say a lot. So I hope that you can bear with me. Those are things I am working on and I will continue to be working on, but that's who God made me to be. So I'm okay with it. So if you guys have any questions, if you like this video, please email me and let me know. I love hearing about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. Hey ladies, so we are going to continue our study on brokenness. I'm so excited about just this chapter that I have been studying in my life. I think for a while, just kind of shoved these things under the carpet. I didn't try to understand why or how to help myself, honestly. So anyhow, today we are going to continue this study. Just to catch you up quick, if you have not watched the Brokenness, the first video, I will link that below, but I'm just going to catch you up to speed real quick. The question we asked was, how are you broken or hurting? And in this, we just kind of talked about the things that cause us to feel broken, those things that are causing us not to grow in our faith, not to be able to move on. And so I think for myself, I had found that I was overwhelmed with anxiety and fear, and then followed that was worry. Since I started this study, I can't begin to tell you how much my quality of life has improved. So I am just so excited to share this with you, and hopefully that this will help you to be able to get over those things in your life that are causing you to not be able to grow. So today, where we are going to start is Lamentations 3:17 and 18. And in there it says, I have been deprived of peace. I have forgotten what prosperity is. We're going to just start with 17 today. And in there, I believe that who the author was Jeremiah. We're not 100% sure here. So just you may want to write somewhere that this was Jeremiah. And from this verse, kind of what we can see is that whoever was writing this, they were in a time where they had lost hope. I mean, they had lost hope completely. That's so comforting just to hear that we are not the only ones in the world who feel like we lost hope in ourselves, in Jesus, in this world. So I'm going to go ahead and write down, share. Probably should leave it like this, but for some reason I want to turn it because it's easier to write. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to write out verse 17, the first part where it says, I have been deprived of peace. Okay. So the first thing that caught my eye was the word deprived, and I'm going to go ahead and circle that. So deprived, what that means is suffering a severe and damaging lack of basic needs. Whoa. This set off so many light bulbs for me when I was studying this. So I'm going to write down here, suffering a severe and damaging lack of basic needs. Okay. So when I think of my basic needs, immediately I think of, okay, a house, clothes, food, all the basics. But when you think about it, our basic needs, are those really our basic needs? Because if I'm deprived of my basic needs and I have everything that I think I need, then how could I still feel deprived? And that's when I came to the realization that the basic needs that it's talking about here is God. There's so many places in the Bible where it says He is all we need to survive. If we trust Him and we give our all to Him, He is going to provide for us. He is going to give us our basic needs. So I am going to go ahead and pick a color here and circle basic needs. So I'm just going to write a little something here about what the basic needs actually are. So even here, I think about the fact that, it doesn't say that we will die without the Lord. It doesn't say that we can't function properly. We can't function at our best. We can't be our best. And that is just something that kind of hit home for me because, this is exactly right. When I am feeling worried and anxious and fearful, it's the fact that I don't have what I think I need or my basic needs. I think it's that I don't have, a car to get me from point A to point B. I don't have the correct computer to help me do, business stuff. It's all of that are considered to me my basic needs. But when I was realizing, my basic needs are really just God. That's all I need. He is my peace. He is the one that brings me that. And that is really how I can survive to my fullest and how I can just grow and build a life for Him. Because, without Him, my life is not going to be anywhere close to good or,
it really is just so important for me to realize that the Lord is all I need. And that is hard, like in those moments when, we're having panic attacks, or, we're looking down upon ourselves, looking negatively at ourselves. We are constantly just thinking about all the things we don't have when we really have it all. And if we realize that, I think that we'd be able to get past all those, those struggles and battles much faster. So the next thing I want to look at is the word damaging. And the reason why I wanted to look at damaging was because it made me think of, if I don't follow the Lord, if I decided he wasn't my basic needs, what would that look like? And honestly, I immediately started understanding, that's the devil. That's the devil coming in and trying to overtake my life, so that way I don't have peace. So I have these battles and these struggles, and he's the one that tells me that, oh, the Lord, he's done with you. You're not good enough. It's him. He's the one that plants those things in our head. And it's never the Lord saying, oh yeah, keep being anxious, keep being fearful because you're not enough. The Lord sent his son, Jesus, to die for us. And there is no sin in this world that will ever make him not love us, and I think that in itself is just very comforting. So I am going to go ahead and circle the word damaging. And then I'm just going to write something just kind of about when we don't follow God's truths, the devil takes over. Okay. So the next word that I want to look at is peace. And when I think of peace, I think of just calm. I think of still. I think of the ocean. And maybe you have a place or something that you do that brings you peace. And I want you to just, for a minute, just sit here and just dream about that peaceful state, what that feels like, what that looks like. And for me, that I'm literally picturing myself with my husband camping at the lake with our dog, reading a book on the beach. That's it. Just the simplicity of it. And so it helps me better understand what peace is. What am I looking for in this life? I'm looking for peace. And if I'm looking for peace, I need to understand what that feels like and what that looks like for me. I'm going to go ahead and circle the word peace here. And I'm going to write underneath it kind of like a little definition of it. So it's freedom from disturbance. And with the analogy that I just gave you, or my peaceful place, I think of free of disturbance. I don't have any cell service when I'm out there. It's literally just him and I enjoying those raw, simple moments. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take a little side note here, and I'm going to write about where I feel peaceful. So go ahead and take a second and just write about the place where you feel peaceful. So when you're done writing about the place where you feel most at peace, you now get that feeling. And that is the feeling that we should feel when we are with God. When we come before him and we say, Lord, I'm struggling, it is that feeling of peace that he should bring us. And I believe that if we don't feel that when we come to him, we aren't truly putting ourselves forward to him. We're holding back. We're holding back from the fact that He loves us. He knows all. There is nothing that we can do or say that is going to make him stop loving us. And so if that's true, then we should be able to give him all of that. He can take it off our shoulders so we can be able to move on and get that feeling of peace back. And I am a huge believer in God just literally taking away all of that feeling, all of that stress and that anxiety that I feel, when I seriously, truly bring it to him. Not just saying, Lord, help me, I'm anxious. When I'm telling him, Lord, I am so anxious right now because I have to go to this doctor's appointment and I'm so worried and I'm afraid that I could have this disease. And when I'm bringing all that to him and I just spill it all out, my heart then just immediately starts feeling calm because I know that he is there and he is going to comfort me. He is our comfort. So now I'm going to just write in my own words a little bit what this part of the verse means to me. Okay, so the next point that I want to talk about is the fact that I think many of us look for this peace, this basic needs fulfillment through other people, through things. And when in reality, all we need is God. So I'm going to write here basically that we search sometimes for people. We search for peace, through people and things when all we need is God. And then I'm going to just write a few things that distract me from my basic needs, which is God. What is distracting me from thinking that? Okay, so I wrote down just a few things that cause me to lose distraction over what I need. And I think that some of these things, as I was looking at them, they kind of made me realize that I think oftentimes we use Facebook, we use Pinterest, we use TV shows, music, friends as a distraction. We try to shove these things under the carpet when in reality, if God is all we needed, we wouldn't be on Facebook trying to compare our lives, looking at it and saying, oh, well, she's getting married and I'm not. Well, that's not fair. I don't have my basic needs. Oh, that house is beautiful. It has a beautiful, beautiful staircase, and I love those porch fans and the brick pavers. Oh, that's so gorgeous. I need that. Oh, my house isn't like that. It's not as good. I think we do that. I think we do those things and we compare. And I think God is just saying, each of us are different. Each of us have different lifestyles. And in order to be happy, you just need me. That's it. Just worry about me. So I think that was a huge realization for me, is learning that, these things distract me and just being more aware of it. I'm not saying that I'm never going to go on Facebook. I'm not going to hang out with my friends. I'm just going to be more aware of the fact that I do compare. Okay, so now we're going to look at the next half of the verse. And so I just put the verse number next to it just so that way when I'm going back through my notes, it's easier for me to look back and see. So the second half of verse 17 says, I have forgotten what prosperity is. Okay, So I have forgotten. So I'm going to go ahead and box the word forgotten. Because when I think of forgotten, I think of the fact that it was not intentional. I didn't purposely forget what it is like to be successful. I think of it like a little kid, and they're running out of the house and they get in the car and you say, "Where's your jacket?" They say, "Oh, I forgot it." They were so busy worrying about the fact that the dog was in the crate and they wanted to go say goodbye to it and give it a cookie and give it a kiss and the whole thing, that they forgot to bring their jacket with them. So I don't see forgottenness as something that's intentional. I think it's something that comes naturally to us when we have these troubling times. We forget. We do. We lose sight of reality. So I'm gonna, I don't know why I did that first. That was weird. Okay, I'm gonna write here. So put out of one's mind. And then I'm gonna just over here put not intentional. I think that's important because I think for most of us, I don't think any of us are purposely forgetting what it's like to have happiness, peace, success, whatever you want to call it. I think that we do just often forget. We just lose what that feeling is like. And that is why going back, I think it's so important that we remember what it's like to have that peace, those peace. What does that even mean? Those moments of stillness, of silence, of the simple things, So this is a huge point right here. Make sure that you go and do that right at a place where you feel most at peace. So now we want to look at the word prosperity, and I am going to circle the word prosperity. And prosperity is like happiness, success, peace. And so I'm going to write those words down. If you guys haven't learned already, my spelling is so bad. But I know the Lord forgives me, so that's okay. So I also want to just talk about what prosperity in Latin actually means. And after kind of doing some studying, it just means doing well. That's it, doing well. Notice that, let me write this down first. I can't do two things at once. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So doing well to me is not saying that we have all our, I feel like I was going to say some kind of like, I don't know, something that was going to make a lot of sense, and now it just doesn't make any sense. What was I going to say? What is that saying? I don't know. Whatever the saying is, basically that we have everything planned out for our life, and everything is going perfectly. Nothing says anything about perfection. Prosperity is simply just doing better than you are right now. Just taking that step, just being one step better than you were yesterday. So we have forgotten what prosperity is, what that happiness, what that success, what that peace is like. So I'm going to go ahead again and write something in my own words, and something to the effect of that there are times when I feel like I've forgotten what a happy, successful, and full life looks and feels like. And the important part is feels like, because I think most women, at least, they do tend to thrive off of that feeling. We're very emotional, if you couldn't tell. We are all very emotional. And so remembering what that feeling looks like is going to help us to move back there, to ask the Lord to truly give all our problems to Him, and He will be there. He will give us our basic needs. He will be there to provide for us what we truly need in life. So there are moments where I think that all of a sudden I realize, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, or oh my gosh, I am feeling just so crappy about myself. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. I'm too fat. My face is too round. I mean, you name it, and I've thought it. And I think in those moments, I call out to God and I say, God, are you listening to me? Are you listening to what I have to say? Do you hear that I'm having body image issues? Do you hear that I'm anxious? Do you hear that I'm fearful right now? Lord, are you even listening to me? And I think that we often have these questions like, God, are you listening? God, why can't I hear you talking to me? And then the big one, and I think that a lot of Christians are too afraid to say this, but I'm not, because I think that more Christians have thought this than will lead on to be. If God is good, then why is he not fulfilling whatever that is? Fulfilling my need for peace and happiness. Why is he not doing that? And I think that these questions are embarrassing as a Christian to ask. I think they're embarrassing to admit, because we don't want to seem like we don't believe in God. We don't ever have trials. We don't ever have these battles or worries, but we do. I'll never forget when I first started talking to Cameron about our faith. It was about 3 months into our marriage. We had talked about it off and on. We knew we had the same values, but we never really talked about it, what that looked like for us. And I just remember being so embarrassed by the fact that I didn't know as much as he did. I sometimes questioned if God was even real. I sometimes questioned why he didn't listen to me, or why he wasn't actively showing me that my prayers were being answered, And in that moment, I remember thinking to myself, he's my husband. I should be able to tell him this. But that's okay. You know what? I'm not going to tell him because I don't want to embarrass myself. But if we don't step out and tell these friends, our husbands, pastors, leaders, if we don't tell them about these struggles that we're having because we're too embarrassed, how are we ever supposed to grow? How are we ever supposed to get a stronger faith? How are we ever supposed to believe more in God? How is that supposed to happen? Because we'll never rid ourselves of those problems. We'll just keep going round and round in our head. But the moment I was able to open up to my husband and say, hey, I'm struggling. I'm battling this. I'm having a lot of issues with fear. Or at one point, Cameron, I'm having issues believing that God is good right now because it feels like everything bad is happening to us, And so I think that that's really important to remember that we all have these questions. And this is why we have friends and family and husbands to go to, because they're there to help us. They'll help us to get us back on the right track. And I think oftentimes we just don't allow ourselves to have enough space. This is something I had talked about recently with many of you who are watching this probably know that my Bible study failed. And if you're interested in why that failed and all of that, you can go check out the video and I'll link that below. But I think in that moment when I had failed, I think I really felt like, first, God, why are you listening? Why aren't you there for me? I've done all this for you, yet you do nothing for me. You open all these doors and you slam this door in my face. And I think the reality of that, once I was able to realize what I was saying, was that God really was good. He was looking out for me. He was making sure that this Bible study was good and that it was for His will. And it wasn't something that I didn't believe in. Okay, I'm not sure where I left off. One of the dogs decided to start barking, so I had to quick end the video because you literally would not have been able to understand anything I was saying. So I'm not quite sure where I was, but I'm just going to pick up where one of my thoughts are. So when I had failed at the Bible study, I realized that it wasn't because God was bad or trying to hurt me. He was actually good. He was trying to make this Bible study the best it could be. He's trying to show me that, this isn't about you. This is about me. And that was my intention when it started. But then it got to a place where I had people advising me, and while they're advising me, I just get so caught up in all the business of it that I kind of lost sight of what I actually wanted, which was to help women. And instead of losing hope in God, that is when I actually was able to take 2 steps forward. My faith was so much stronger. I believed that God was so good, and I could see that his goodness and his love for me was shining through, just like a parent when they yell at you because you're doing something bad. They're not yelling at you to be, jerks. They're yelling at you because they want you to be the best human being you can possibly be. And many of you who are parents are going to understand when that 3-year-old, you tell them, don't touch that, and then they just tap it. It's frustrating, and you want the best for your kid, and that is what God is doing to us. He is our Father. He loves us so much, and he wants us to have that hope, and he wants us to do what is right for him, even if that means slamming a door, and it makes me upset. So I was really thankful for that. I think that I've learned over the past couple of weeks that God really is good, and losing hope in him, it happens. Many, many Christians have these same questions and these same fears as you do. And I just want you to know that there are people, even in the Bible, who lost hope. And that is so comforting. So you are not alone. God loves you. Just pour your heart out to him today. Just pour your heart out to him, that he will show you the way back. He will just come over you and comfort you and love you and just show you the right way to just live that peaceful and fulfilled life. So I'm going to go ahead and close us in prayer. If you have any questions on this week's Bible study, make sure that you go ahead and email me. And I am so thankful that I got to sit here and talk with you guys. And so let's go ahead and pray real quick. Lord Jesus, I just thank you for the time that I was able to spend today in your word. I'm so thankful that I get to talk to these women and help them through these just stressful and frustrating times, Lord. And I just pray that you help comfort them. You comfort them and show them that they are not alone. We're all broken. We all have our broken ways. And there are women around us who are going to help us to grow, who are going to help us to become better women and just live a life for you, Lord. And I just pray that today we can put all these worries on you and just truly give ourselves to you, Lord. Just give our all, so that way you can restore us and renew that peace and happiness in our lives. Lord, I thank you for all you've given to me, all the blessings in my life, Lord, and I'm just so grateful. In your name I pray. Amen. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this Bible study. Again, if you have any questions, please just email me. I love hearing from you guys, so even if you just have a story to tell, that would be absolutely amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.